tienes esa cosa especial, bella mariposa especial, ella con su rosa especial, todos quieren ese especial. Tú tienes esa cosa especial, bella mariposa especial, ella con su rosa especial, todos quieren ese especial.
Huzzah! I am Monk, your host. Welcome to PIDCAST episode 32, the podcast by fans, for fans, and for the people who just really need to vent about the Colorado Rapids. PIDCAST is a part of the Bangarang soccer community, telling soccer stories a mile high in the sky and on till morning. After you're all done pressing pins into your front office voodoo dolls, come touch grass with us at our free-to-play pickup soccer around Denver. Don't forget to check out our sibling show, Sum It Up, covering all things Denver Summit FC, NWSL, and women's sports here at 5280. Sadly, Fitouri is quite disturbed and down with the sickness today, so it's just me and the guy who just realized October lied to us as in fact not the 8th month of the year.
No, I'm the guy who realized what you just did with disturbed and down with the sickness. I feel like this is going to be your proudest moment. This is episode 32, and this is probably like, this is your high mark.
Just retire.
Wait, why did October lie to us and it's not the 8th month? I don't get that reference.
Oct means 8.
Oh, that's why they pay you the big bucks for being smart. Yeah. See, I was just too caught up with your musical pun. So kudos to you, man.
What's going on in Pidder Chatter, man?
We got quite a few things going around the area. First thing, Clint Irwin, once and future Colorado Rapid, has announced his retirement. Clint played for the Rapids from 2013 to 2015, and then 2019 to 2022. I always loved Clint Irwin because he was a Charlotte native, so he was a big entry point for me into my Rapids fandom. Because I would chat with him when I'd see him after a game about like Panthers scores and things like that, and he was always such a nice guy. So really, really stoked for Clint to look back at a fantastic career and be confident hanging up the boots at the time that he likes. He wrote a really nice message on social media that I'd recommend all of you to go check out. We'll repost it on our socials to make it more visible. Also, there is a bit of fun news. There's going to be a Guinness World Record attempt on Tuesday, October 7th at Dick's Sporting Goods Park. UC Health and the Colorado Rapids are going to attempt the Guinness World Record for longest chain of sports scarves. They are going to go for 5,280 feet of connected Colorado Rapids and UC Health Ready, Set, Co. soccer scarves. Paxton Aronson will be at the event, as well as Rob Holding and Drew Moore. The event starts at 6 p.m. They're going to try over the course of that 30 minutes to break the world record. So if you guys don't have any plans Tuesday night, I'd highly suggest you get out there, get in on it. They're going to need people to hold those scarves. There's going to be drone footage, lots of cameras. Go be a part of history. Be part of a world record, especially one that, ups the PIDs. I think that's pretty cool. What do you think, Monk?
That's a cool idea. I really wish they'd put something somewhere to let us know, give us a little heads up. But
I'm sure there will be an announcement forthcoming. Maybe they don't want to detract from the big rivalry match this weekend.
That's true. That is very true.
I'm just curious. I wonder. I'm looking back behind me at my stash, and that's not even all of them. I wonder how long my scarf collection would stretch if I chained them all together. I think I'm at something like 30 scarves now.
We'll have to measure a scarf and just be like, okay, this is the average, and then calculate out if we can meet.
Let's set a local Rapids podcast record for which show can create the longest chain together sports scarves.
Actually, you all let us know how big your scarf collection is. Mine's pretty solid, but it's not that big. I know quite a few people that just have a lot more scarves than I do. Not just Rapid scarves, but just in general, huge scarf collections.
Come on,
Show
Monk.
us some of
It's
your
not...
displays, because the displays are really cool. I've seen some people come up with some really cool ideas. Mine aren't displayed anymore. They used to be up in my old house, but they haven't gone.
Everyone knows it's not the size of your scarf. It's the air that you wear it with, Monk.
That's true. How you wave it is how you wave it.
See, this is what happens when Sarah's not on the show. We're so grounded. In other local soccer news, Denver Summit are having their Club 5280 launch party this Saturday down in Greenwood Village at Pidder Street. Club 5280 is their response to basically selling 15,000 season ticket deposits. So they decided to make a wait list, and they turned that wait list into kind of a founders club where you'll get a founders scarf, a discount on merch that you order from the team store, free access to events, first rights to tickets, to other things as they come up. So I hope to see a bunch of you guys down there. That's going to be from noon until 5 p.m. Down in Greenwood Village. Again, at Pidder Street, Coach Nick Cushing will be there doing 2 live Q&As, one from 12:30 to 1 and the other from 3 to 3:30. So if you haven't listened to this week's episode of Sum It Up yet, in which we talked to Nick Cushing in conversation, I would highly suggest you get down there. He's a great guy, super approachable, gives really great answers. Go ask your questions.
Are they going to put the Rapids game on after somewhere? Right there?
That would be... I mean, that's the type of, like, cross-pollination we have been, like, hoping for and preaching. Is it what will happen? Yeah. Who knows? I think the Rapids official watch party is going to be at the Celtic, right?
Yeah, it's at the Celtic. But I'm saying, like, the struggle is Apple TV, right? I'm still in favor of that deal. I like how I can get all MLS games with one, subscription if you don't have season tickets. If you have season tickets, you get the free subscription still. And I think that's great. But it also means going and watching it out in public is a struggle because bars don't have Apple TV and the MLS subscription unless you ask them to, at least in Colorado. There might be some bigger soccer towns that maybe they have a little bit more of that, but here it's a struggle.
I think it's just like a wink, wink, nod, nod, like, here's my login, bro, kind of thing to the bartender. I mean, I feel like most bars have smart TVs now, right?
Very
we
true.
don't have to turn it to like channel 4, whatever altitude is.
What's altitude? That hasn't died yet?
See, this is another thing we need Sarah for. How will we know how high above sea level we are without her on the show? All right, so moving on to a piece of terrible national team news before some great national team news. The PIDCAST is officially swearing off any and all allegiance to the U.S. men's national team after this morning it was announced they were not calling our Purple King, Zach Steffen, into the October camp, of which will feature a match in his home Dick's Sporting Goods Park against Australia. I, for one, am just floored by the audacity of this. Like, I don't know, man. A guy that was in contention, you're playing at his home stadium. He had a bad run of injuries and sickness. This feels like, even if it's just like a morale move, like, he's there already. Make him your fourth keeper. Like, I think it's Chris Brady, Patrick Schulte, Matt Freese, and Matt Turner that got called up.
Yeah, I agree. He should at least have made the top 4, in my opinion, just generally from a skill situation. But on top of that, obviously, he's playing here at the home stadium. If you're really trying to drive some people and kind of build that kind of relationship, great. I'm going to play devil's advocate here. I don't really believe in a lot of this, but if you're looking at his current letting goals in, because the Rapids defense has struggled, it's a hard one. Because, like, I still think he's been looking pretty solid, but that's a lot of goals that we've been letting in. So it's really hard to, when you look at that, go, hey, this guy should, when he was originally fighting for like a starting spot before his injury that they gave him. Just want to remind everybody, he didn't get injured for the Rapids. He got injured in training camp before they even started. So hopefully he'll get another shot. Is my hope. We'll get to see him in the World Cup roster. but this is kind of a bad sign for that. Getting kind of close to that area.
I mean, I know Lucas Harrington is a little bit busy in Chile right now representing the Australian youth national team. So I might just have to find like a blank Australia national team jersey and like have Omar put Harrington and his number on the back, because I can't stand the US national team, you know, when it flies in the face of our king. So I think I'm going to be a Socceroo fan on the 14th.
Isn't this the second time like a national team has like snubbed a few Colorado players? Didn't the women's team do that last time they were here, where they have like four girls from Colorado, if I remember correctly, and I don't think any of them made the lineup? I
don't think those were snubs. I think one or two were maternity leave. One was an injury. I don't think that was a snub. I know what you're referencing. And no, the women's team always gets it right. Let's just be honest. So still fully on board with the Lady Yanks. But let's talk about the U.S. national team that we really can get behind, and that's the youth national team, the U20 team, because everyone's saying that's the golden generation. This U.S. the men's main national team, they're washed. The U20s though, that's where it's at. You got our guy Adam Beaudry, just came off as of 2 hours ago. 30 minutes ago, finished off France with a 3-0 performance, a clean sheet against France, where he saw only 2 shots on target. So not a lot of work that he had to do. This comes after their crazy win 9-1 against New Caledonia, in which the best comment I saw online was Adam Beaudry is just being a good Catholic and tithing 10% of the goals to the other team. Because he did have one of the most epic when playing it out of the back goes wrong moments, where I don't know if he originally thought he was going to put the pass out with his right foot and then last minute decided to use his left foot, but he passed it right to the forward in front of him, and the forward just put it right in the back of the net. So I'm gonna go charity, kind of Make-A-Wish Foundation vibes, that Adam was just being a good dude and figured they were already up 9. Why not spot them 1 goal?
Hey, at least he didn't do it against a rival. There is some RMC history that has happened. So,
hey, knock on wood. Let's not jinx this yet. So yeah, the youth national team looks off to a hot start. Unfortunately, Noah Cobb has been on the bench for both matches. He is down there with the team as well with Adam Beaudry. And I believe Lucas and Australia play their next game tonight. I'm just confirming that. TBD. We'll post it on socials. But it's cool. We have three Rapids down there in a youth World Cup. I think that's wild.
That is great. And something I've talked about on this cast, it's been even on The Voice, we've always seemed to have a pretty solid academy. Our academy has always grown pretty good players, in my opinion, compared to quite a bit of the league. We just also sell them, and so, you know.
Yeah, well, that's really all I've got for Pidder Chatter outside of happy birthday, Dauda Amadou. Dauda, number 45 for the Rapids and Rapids 2 captain when he's on Rapids 2. Fantastic person and player. We wish him the happiest of birthdays.
Awesome. Shall we talk about the disappointment that was this last weekend?
Yeah, I guess so. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Saturday, September 27th at 7:30 p.m. in what was one of the wonderfully strangest nights I've ever seen at the Dick, your Colorado Rapids played the Minnesota United Loons to a 1-1 draw. Before we get into the actual game, Monk, I just want to go down the list of things that this day was. First and foremost, it was the double header at the Dick, but I think it was a quintuple header if you include outside of the Dick, because the Rapids Academy teams also played the Minnesota United Academy teams. I believe the Academy went 3-0 against the Minnesota Academy teams. So there's your Academy quality shout. Then the Rapids 2 played at 2:30 in the afternoon. They unfortunately played to a 2-1 loss against Minnesota. Minnesota saw its first goal scored by Evergreen's own Logan Dorsey. So that was a really cool moment. His whole family was in the stands. So when he scored that goal, he ran over to the sideline, and there was quite a loud cheering section. Also, just it's something we'll talk about later as we recount these events. Logan and his brother Griffin being Colorado natives and also graduates of Evergreen High School. With everything that went on at Evergreen a couple of weeks ago, I think anything to have the families and the communities feel a little bit more tied together. It was a really cool moment. So we get to the actual Rapids game, and it is first and foremost Noche Latina, which props to Fernando Varela, fan engagement officer. He had the papeles picados, those really cool, colorful paper flags that you see hanging at a lot of Hispanic events and festivals. He championed the idea to have those up and customized with things like Vamos Rapids, the logo, things like that. And those were on kind of every strut and support around the stadium, which once you walked in, like immediately felt like an aesthetic. I haven't seen at the Dick, I think, in the entire time I've been there. I think it was up there with the 2021 playoff game where they had all of those checkered flags and the whole crowd just looked like kind of like a moving literal like sea of burgundy and blue. Yeah, I thought those flags were awesome. They had a fantastic Mexican band that was playing up kind of on the northwest side of the north boundary. They were absolutely killing it. And then in addition to that, we had the Colorado Potatoes Union, I believe, sponsored the night. So every fan in attendance got to go home with the first 5,000 fans out of the stadium got to go home with a 5-pound bag of Colorado russet potatoes. Monk, did you get a bag of potatoes?
I did not. I didn't get a bag. I saw the box out there, though. I'm going to point out that Latina Noche, they chose the whitest guy you could find as the poster when you walked in, though. They're handing out Laraz.
Oh, come on now. No.
They were like, here's the guy, the ginger is the poster you got. Fitouri and I were talking about while we're watching the game and like realized what was going on. I was like, they chose like the most stark contrast they could get in the little poster they handed us.
You don't know. Maybe Ali has that Latino swag about him, and it's just not being advertised. You know,
yeah,
I wouldn't put it past him.
Definitely have some heritage for all I know. It was just funny because it was like, wow, you chose the guy that like legitimately looks like a piece of paper out there.
Hey, that's hockey Ron Weasley you're talking about right there. That's Allie's mom's favorite player. When Allie's mom came out to the game, she goes, that number 8, boy, he sure can run. He's just running up and down everywhere.
At least he came off the bench. We were like, is he going to play? They handed out this thing, and he didn't make the starting lineup, but he came off the bench, which was good to see. I
mean, to be fair, like, the Rapids don't have any Central American players, any Mexican players. Like,
that's true.
They could have put like Steve Flores from like Rapids 2 on there, and like. But I mean, this goes to show a point we've been making all season is that the Rapids need a Mexican star to really activate the community here, because I thought the atmosphere and the community at Noche Latina was amazing. It was like Leagues Cup, the same thing when we played Santos Laguna. Best vibes at the Dick all season long. So just to go back, Monk, remember when we did our Mr. Right segment? Ozzy Herrera and Marcelo Flores are still down there on Tigres, waiting to get a call maybe in the winter transfer window. Next time we sit down with Poreg, we'll really put him to the grind, his nose to the grind on getting that done. I think in the past he's just flat out said that Liga MX charges too much for their players, so it's cost prohibitive to bring them in. But I think it's worth it.
It's something we used to talk about decades ago, right? Decade ago at this point. Like we were one of the teams that possibly could end up with Chicharito, possibly could end up with Vela, but neither. We essentially just passed. We didn't even try. We were in the list, and it was just like nope, because of the cost. And I think that if you brought in a player like that or anything like that, you would just watch that stadium be packed. Like the energy in that stadium would be insane. The jersey sales alone, I imagine, are going to be pretty high. Like you're going to get that investment back. But it's the argument I've been saying about any solid named player, right? If you bring in somebody that people actually know on a more like international scale, you'd sell jerseys and make all that money back pretty easily, right? Messi costs a lot of money. He's probably sold so much in jersey sales, doesn't even make a little blip on the amount of money that they've made.
I mean, to be fair, and to your point, I did see a lot of number 10 Aronson jerseys, so I think they have proof of concept right there with that name selling a lot of jerseys. The Chicho Arango thing was a tough pill to swallow because I think it was like $5 million. He came back from Liga MX into MLS and went to our arch rival, and it was just like, guys, that was right there. That was right on the table. No one, and I mean, no one is choosing Sandy, Utah's quality of life and geographic amenities over Denver and Commerce City, Colorado. So that was a crime of not seizing the opportunity right there.
Very true. But
I think
delayed it long enough.
Well, no, we're not even done. We're not even done
yet.
Trading card night. So we had quintuple header at the Dick, Papas Fritas, Noche Latina, trading card night, and then a really touching tribute to the Evergreen High School. They had the men's varsity and JV soccer teams come out to the game, and after the match, they all came out to the pitch and had some time and some words with the players, and then took a big group photo. And I thought that was a really touching sight. And then to top that off, there was a faith concert going on those tents to the northwest of the stadium outside after. So I think this is probably the largest variety of activations at Dick's Sporting Goods Park I've ever seen.
And that didn't even include the absolutely amazing band that we brought out to the tailgate. Boca Hueca, wow. Like, I missed them last year. I was out of town. It was the one home game I missed. They just killed it. Like, Latin ska, they were absolutely amazing. They were such a blast. It was the energy that they bring. Well worth seeing them if you can. Hopefully we'll be bringing them back. But that was my experience pre-game. I didn't get to go watch the Rapids too because I was setting all that up. So Matt was there by himself. He never came and said hi to me though, so it's fine. Everybody's like,
I was there at 1:30. I never left the stadium. I entered the stadium for R2, and I didn't leave the stadium until 11:30 that night after R1. So
it's fine.
Okay. It's fine. The good news is I did hear in the news, I think the Rapids are having Bad Bunny perform at their MLS Cup halftime show. Did I hear that right?
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. We're going to spend more on that concert than we will on a player.
Worth it.
Totally worth it.
Yeah, all right. Let's stop stalling. The Rapids played to what felt like a disappointing 1-1 draw against Minnesota United, which hampered our table climb playoff aspirations. We remained in 8th place, but it does kind of put into question our ability to get up to 7th and get out of the play-in game. We saw a goal from Rafa Santos In the last minute of the first half on a set piece, he put a well-paced left-footed shot through the Rapids portion of the wall. The Rapids kind of parted the green sea, as it were. And the pace that Santos put on it caused it to bounce about maybe like 4 feet in front of James St. Clair and make it virtually impossible to get a hand on. So I think we've been calling that shot for quite a bit now. Santos' left foot being one of the best things the Rapids have signed this year. Unfortunately, Minnesota had their own wonder goal in the 65th minute when Triantis put in absolute golazo from outside of the box, curled away from an outstretched Stefan and into the upper 90 of the goal. I from everything I saw, the sentiment was nothing you can do there but tip your cap to an amazing shot.
Like, Santos's goal, I was like, damn. And then that happened, and I was just like, there's nothing you can do. But, wow. Just, it felt like a loss. Stadium felt like a loss. This was and as you're talking about, like, you think you're out of that 7th spot for not having to do a play-in game. But, like, we're on the verge of not even being involved in the play-in game at the moment. Right? Like, the Salt Lake and Dallas both have a game in hand against us right now. So this weekend is a 6-point swing, and they still have another game they get to play to catch up with us in our matches. We needed that. Minnesota game was the one that I felt like we needed to really win to get what most people are considering that 4 points we needed in our last 3 games to kind of shore ourselves up in the playoff spots. And it was just, I didn't feel like we looked that great. I think we looked god awful, but it was just, I expected a little bit more out of us, a little bit more energy, a little bit more trying to score those goals, really trying to get that win so that we don't have the pressure trying to play in Sandy and against LAFC, right? Like, it doesn't get easier from here.
I'll push back on that a bit. I thought we looked quite good, to be perfectly honest. We lacked that bite. We lacked that killer instinct to put a team away. I mean, we went up first. Vibes were good. They get back on a wonder goal. That's cool. But then you have another 30 minutes basically to try and get that extra goal. And for everything we were doing, we just couldn't make it happen. We put 8 shots on target that Dane St. Clair had to save. Minnesota only put 3 shots on target that Zach Steffen had to contest with. We saw again that, and we knew Minnesota was going to do this. The Rapids had almost 60% possession across the game, and Minnesota sat in a low block and basically said, we don't have any forwards anymore, so try to get through this and then hopefully get called out. And we've seen that Tijuana played that same strategy against us. Like, Rapids not being able to break through a low block without having that, like, I don't know if we need more of a clinician, like, in that final third or what.
Santos put in a beautiful goal, but it's one of those things that Aronson hasn't done yet, right? Still early on. Not going to put my judgment there, but, like, Georgiou is able to take our shots within 35 yards. And every time it was a dangerous shot generally, right? Like, you didn't want to foul us within 35 yards because he was dangerous. And that's the type of player that we need. And hopefully Aronson is that, right? Like, that's the hope. He just hasn't done it yet. Still early on. He's only a few games in, right? But it's one of those things that's the teams that generally do better, right? When you have that person that you're just like, I know this guy's going to throw it on his back. If they give us a foul in the last 20 minutes within 35 yards, he's going to make that keeper make a hell of a save or make the upper 90 shot that curves around the hands that goes into the net, right? And that's what we need. We need that guy. We need somebody to be able to do that, especially when you start looking at playoffs, which at this moment is kind of a gamble. I'm worried. So,
yeah, I see your point, and I want to point out with Paxton, the good and the bad is Paxton is putting himself in dangerous positions. He's helping put other teammates in dangerous positions. But the thing when Paxton has shot, I think he's got 4 or 5 attempts now where he puts himself into a great position and then either is just a step off of his rhythm or loses track of the keeper and shoots directly into the arms of the goalkeeper. I think some guys in the press box were calling it the new Omir Fernandez in his ability to get into dangerous positions, but then not pull off dangerous shots.
Yeah, that's kind of Rapid's way.
Yeah.
But if you look at the lineup, right, you would think that we're the better team. We have 6 people in green. Aronson is not one of them. Navajo being one. Our entire 4 back line, and Bassett, all making the green, but just. Aronson, do you also think that he had to play a little bit less aggressive this game because he decided to get a yellow card going very stupidly, cleats up 8 minutes into the game?
No, I don't think that changed his game. I don't think he's that type of player. I think Paxton Aronson, and this is a compliment, is going to play Paxton Aronson ball, whether he's on the verge of his first yellow, second yellow, accumulation yellow. I don't think he's going to change his game. And I also think that's bullshit. Shout out to Wes Burdine, who owns a fantastic bar in Minnesota in St. Paul called Blackheart, and is a fantastic voice for Minnesota United. He called us out for being crazy. He thought that should have been a red card. I thought that was borderline simulation. I went back and watched that replay multiple times, close up, and it's a 50-50 ball that when Paxton sees he's not going to win, he turns his foot downward, so his foot hits the bottom of the Minnesota player's cleat. I think a yellow is even harsh for that call. And then the way that the Minnesota player went down and started grabbing his shin and knee like he was probably never going to play soccer again. I mean, we've all seen it. We know what that looks like. I'm with you, Paxton. If that had been a red...
In live play, though, he came in, his foot and his leg is up, and then he makes a last-second adjustment to drop it down. Like, you have to have a lot to, like, pull that back. Like, I'm sorry. I agree after watching some replays, but it looked like live play, and even the first or second time I watched that replay, it looked like he went in hard and a little late, and almost like his cleats were up. The adjustment was later.
I'm fine with the yellow. I think this is a 50-50 ball where there are just impossible physics between 2 professional soccer players extending their legs to try and get the first touch on this. And to see very overtly that Aronson, when he realized he was going to be a shade late, turned his studs away to really try to avert any like catastrophic contact. I don't like it. This is like how like all of the roughing the passer calls in the NFL. Like I don't know how much Paxton weighs, but just to use the NFL example, when like a 300-pound man like points his body into a vector, like you just can't stop. That's not how that works.
Very, very true. It's fine. It just kind of early yellow, set a tone. I would probably agree with you. I don't think he really backed up, but it's something to consider, right? That he's sitting on a yellow, and a lot of players or a lot of coaches will tell players to, hey, don't get that red. Right, you don't want us going a man down. We'd rather you miss an opportunity than do something stupid. Especially if the ref's already looking at you, thinking you went up cleats up into a foul and been a little bit aggressive. Speaking of the ref, last seconds of the game, 2 non-called possible PKs.
Yeah.
Legitimately right in front of me. I'm sitting at the top of the row watching this happen. I'm just like, 1, didn't call it. And then the second, the handball. And I was like, yeah, like, maybe a little soft on both of those, but still like back to back sitting there. Just, I don't know. I felt like we should have gotten the dice roll on one of those.
So the first one is just, it's absolutely a foul. Like I think it's Calvin, right? Gets pulled down at the edge of the box. It's one of the most like tactically obvious things like a defender can do. And it's not always a bad play by the defender's part because Calvin was about to cut in and have an amazing opportunity at the goal. So Calvin gets pulled down to the box. Everyone's looking for the foul. At that point, Minnesota gets the ball. So that's when you would call the foul. The idea that if the Rapids had possessed it, which Darren Yappy quickly gets the ball back, so it creates an advantage for the Rapids where maybe you want to let the play continue. And then I'd argue that the outcome of letting the play continue is Cole Bassett getting the chance to be the hero and put the ball off his head into the goal. But it wouldn't have been the greatest position for a free kick, but it still should have been called. The handball that people talked about when then Yappy kicks it off of I think it's Boxall's arm. I don't think that's a handball. I think getting upset at that one is soft, but that foul not being called, you got to wonder what's going on there.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things. You get small moments like that, right? We still should have won the game. We still should have found a spot to score. You can't blame it all on the refs, but it's one of those things that consistently the Rapids tend to get not the call comparatively. Yeah. And so it just kind of sucks that we end up in that situation a lot of the time. Especially when, you throw Aronson that what could have argued been said a soft yellow, right, early in the game, but you don't give the benefit of the doubt to us on those plays. Like it's just one of those things you start seeing that a little bit what could be argued as favoritism from the refs, either on purpose or not, right? I'm not saying that they are on purpose doing that, but if you're going to make the soft call, you've got to make the soft call on both sides.
Yeah, I think Minnesota was mugging the Rapids the whole game physically, and the Rapids weren't getting the call. So there was consistency there. And if the tables were turned and we had been Minnesota in that instance, we would have called the ref, awarding a game deciding free kick outside the box on something ticky-tacky. We would be up in arms. Saying refs shouldn't decide games, players should decide games. And I'd argue that the non-call gave Darren Yappy and Cole Bassett the chance to decide the game, and they just couldn't get it done, which is unfortunate because it looked like Cole got a really good chunk of his noggin on that ball. Unfortunately, Dane St. Clair was in the right spot and up to the moment.
Yeah, I agree. It's just one of those things. When I walked out, I was like, this should have been a win. This is the win we needed. You win this game, then there's just like a lot less pressure going into Sandy and obviously against LA at home to finish the season. And now, like, we've put ourselves in, I'm not sure I guess technically if we win the next two games, we still control our fate, right? At this point, if we win the next two, we're in the playoffs, or at least in the play-in. I think that's probably true.
If we win the next two and results fall our way, there's a chance we end in 7th place and we don't have to play the wild card game, as it were.
You consider the wild card game part of playoffs?
No, it's absolutely not.
Yeah,
no.
Neither do I. But some people are like, oh, it's the playoffs. I'm like, no, that's not a playoff. Especially when half the league makes the playoffs.
I will go on record right now that Rapids making the play-in game does not satisfy the requirement of perennial playoff. What was Pureg's line? Perennial playoffs appearances.
Yeah.
The play-in game does not meet the threshold of that goal.
Yeah, because the play-in game technically puts it where over half the league would be technically
60% of the league. Yeah. It's
like, no.
It's dumb.
Which makes this even worse because it's like we couldn't make even 7, which is just under 50% of the league making the playoffs. And
but you know what?
When
we win MLS Cup this year from 9th place, we're gonna be like, play in what?
Just like when we won the championship the last time, where we swung to the east side.
Yeah.
Because of weird rules.
So I think what's going to happen, because you remember we talked about we were looking for a 4-point comfort zone, and we discussed that we thought the 3 was going to come from home against Minnesota, and then 1 from either Salt Lake or LA. And now that we got the 1 from Minnesota, we're going to need those 3 points to come from either Salt Lake or LA. So I think if we go back to the other trend that we continue to point out is the Rapids can't maintain consistent reverse fixture results. So we beat Minnesota the last time, which meant we wouldn't beat them this time. We were either going to draw or lose, and we drew. We beat RSL last time, which means we won't beat RSL this time. We will either draw or lose, both of which of those last 2 outcomes still could secure us the Rocky Mountain Cup. Which means, based on the trend, we're going to beat LAFC at home, and we're going to get the 3 points on decision day for the most nerve-wracking playoff entry via 8th or 9th place.
My heart can't handle this. Okay?
Yeah.
Rapids.
Cardiac
just
pits.
like secure yourself a spot for just 1 point in my life where you secure a spot where there's like 5 games left, and I can just be like, let's just hang and chill, and we're in the playoffs already, and instead of always making it this stress up until the last game of the season.
We've all got that messy friend or family member that you're like, he always comes through, but man, it never looks like he will.
Yeah, but the Rapids don't always come through is the difference. You're like, he always comes through. The Rapids don't.
Some of the time, the Rapids come through. All of the time, Monk.
My plans always work some of the time.
Oh, man. All right. Talking about fantasies, let's jump into that real quick. Sarah's segment. I want to point out that Pit and Play again finished at the top of the table, and now we are in playoffs because apparently that's something that happens in fantasy soccer now. Sarah and Kev of Kev's Churro Crew are in one of these semifinal matches, and then I am playing the Legend of Woody Haynes in the second semifinal match. So this week will determine the championship, meaning my prediction of it being Sarah or Sarah versus Kevin cannot happen. So it's going to be Sarah or Kevin versus me or Woody Haynes. I don't know who the Legend of Woody Haynes is. So if you're listening right now, Legend Woody Haynes, hit us on socials. Tell us who you are, because we'd like to make a big deal out of this. Messi in a double game week.
The 2 best teams are playing each other in the semis right now.
I finished top of the table. You can't say that.
2-game losing, so you're on a slide. You were on a slide coming into those playoffs.
Yeah, but unlike the Rapids, I did what I needed to do throughout the rest of the season to make sure that I could slide at the end and not fall out of the top. Yeah, so Messi and Inter Miami and Chicago had a double game week. So if you're playing fantasy, I hope you got some players in from that. Messi underachieved. Other than that, if we're looking around the MLS at matchups this weekend, both from a fantasy and a watching standpoint, Monk, are there any matchups you're particularly excited about?
You know, I only watch 1 game a weekend. It's always the Rapids. Like that is it. It's the only game I watch.
Well, I think for Rapids fans who are table watching, we want to see Austin and Portland fall, as well as San Jose and FC Dallas. Those are kind of the 4 big teams that can determine whether we end 7th, 8th, 9th, or not in the playoffs whatsoever. So that Austin game is going to come against a slightly resurgent St. Louis City SC. The Portland game is going to come in a kind of Cascadia rivalry with the Sounders. We control our own destiny against Salt Lake, and then we need some help from Vancouver Whitecaps and newly adopted Canadian Thomas Mueller to put San Jose in their place. That is a game that's happening up in Vancouver, so that should be a result that goes our way in the table.
I hope so. I need all results to go our way to help me not stress.
We also need... I hate being this guy because like I always want to play teams at their best, so that way we have the most bragging rights. But if LA wraps up their game against Atlanta United with 3 points, and then we have off next week, they could get another 3 points and then potentially not need to play their starters against us on decision day. I'm not mad at that either.
True. Though I'm a person that says you play your starters anyway. I don't know. But, that's fine. That's
bless our heart.
Bless
Monk,
our heart. Hope they don't.
Let's talk about the chance at hardware in front of us this weekend.
Chance at hardware. Look, RMC, whether we're doing terrible or not, has always seemed to be a solid rivalry matchup. But we suck in Sandy. we are absolutely god awful. Our skills at throwing games away in Sandy is very, very high. So it's going to be hard. Salt Lake sitting in 11th. With 37 points at 11-16-4, with an 8-7-1 home record. All right, they have 35 goals for and 46 against. They're coming off of a win against Austin, 3-1. Solid win, but the games before that, both of them were LAFC, and they lost 4-1 in both of those games. So LAFC is in form, is what we know. The Rapids are sitting in 8th. Still 40 points, 11-14-7, but away record is 3-9-4. So we have an expectation to go in there and do anything on an away record in a stadium we're not good in. Kind of scary. Goals 442 versus 53. In the first round of the RMC, the Rapids won at home 1-0. The Rapids also currently hold the cup. That's important. Which means Salt Lake has to outscore us on aggregate. So the 2 games, you combine all the goals. That's how it works in the 2 games a season setup that we currently have. So that means Salt Lake has to beat us by 2 to win the cup. And anything else, we keep the cup. So we don't have to win. We don't even have to tie. We just have to keep them from scoring more than 1 more goal than us.
More than 2 more goals.
No, 2 goals. If they score 2 goals above us. So if they beat us 0-2, they win.
We got to get out the our expectations were low sign again for this weekend, Monk. We don't need to win. We can lose by 1. Yeah, I mean, we're going to take a deep dive into this game and go through the things, but the thing I want to point out, which will pretty much invalidate everything we say hereafter, is this is a Rocky Mountain Cup game, so expect the unexpected. Stats don't matter. Lineups don't matter. History doesn't matter. This is going to just come out of the wash the way it comes out. If you remember the 2-0 match that ended 5-2, like, it's just wild. We do have some things going for us. I don't think that Luna will be away from the team because I don't know when that October camp starts that he was called up for. Their young star that has really been coming on late in the season, I think Xavier Gozo, he is away from the team. He is down with the U.S. youth national team in Chile. He scored today, but that's a goal scorer and an offensive spark in the last 10 for them that they will not have, which bodes well for us. The other thing that bodes well is I was doing a kind of a goal scoring deep dive on RSL, and they, over the last 10 matches, they score 40% of their goals in the first 15 minutes of the match, which is Rapid's kryptonite, because if Rapids concede first, that they haven't gotten a winning result yet this season. They score the other 30% of their goals in the last 15 minutes. So this could really be a tale of first 15, last 15, and then a classic Pablo Mastroianni, Pablo Ball stalemate for the middle. However, Like gives up. They're doing the same thing the Rapids did at the beginning of the season. They seem to lose focus in the just before the half ends and just after the half ends. So if the Rapids can hold out for that first 15, come out strong, and then punch right before half, and then coming right out of half when the Salt Lake concentration is low, we can get out of this with the result.
I like the positives. I'm glad you said history doesn't matter because it's 24, 9, and 10 in Salt Lake's favor. They have definitely dominated the rivalry for most of it. But we currently have the cup, and that's what matters. The pressure is on them to score 2 extra goals over us. I don't want to see us park the bus because first our defense has shown that we let goals in, and I just don't think that's a good strategy for us. I think we need to go out and just play the best we can. I want to see Aronson have a hell of a game. Right, this is the one. If Aronson can really show up on this one, he's gonna seal his name pretty well in the books to go into RMC and have his first like real blowout match for the Rapids would be insane. Like I think that would be absolutely amazing out of him. It's Sandy. I've done the trip a few times. I'm not doing it this year. And as is standard, we have never won a game when I was there because I think we've only had maybe two.
So what you're saying is we're gonna win because you're not there. You're a mensch for this, Monk.
I'm obviously the problem. The factor that we have 24 losses and I only showed up to like 3 of those. But anyways, what do we do? Or what lineup do we put out there? Like we've been rotating our mids. The last 2 games we had 2 different mid setups. I have no idea what to expect going into this game. Like, what's Armas gonna roll out there? What surprise is he gonna do to maybe give us the upper hand? You have any ideas?
I don't, to be perfectly honest. I think I was at training this week. The good news is everyone's healthy. Outside of Kamani, who is still going to be out for the rest of the season. But we have all other bodies healthy and accounted for and available for this match, pending anything that happens or comes out tomorrow. We've talked a lot about the togetherness of this team and the belief that the players have in Coach Armas and the belief that Coach Armas has in the players. And if ever there's going to be an opportunity for the Rapids to run off that belief, it's going to be this game. I hope they're watching like Remember the Titans or something on the flight out, like something that'll make you want to like run through a wall for club and community.
What's the big green?
Bend it like Beckham. Bend it like Beckham. Bend it like Rafa Santos. We need a sequel. Send it like Santos. There we go. You heard it here first. Again, looking at the data, in the last 10 matches, RSL has 10 goals for and 17 goals against. I think the person who has accounted for 2 or 3 of those 10 goals and assisted on the others, Gozo, is out of the lineup. So that's going to hamper their offensive prowess. The Rapids, in that same stretch of games, has 18 goals for and 20 goals against. So neither of these teams has a positive goal differential, but the Rapids scoring output is by far better than RSL's, and we will have our full complement of attackers. Whether they can finish, whether Pablo just takes the example that we've seen with Minnesota, that we saw with Tijuana, and just puts 10 men back and 1 forward to counter. This is going to be telling. This is going to show who the Rapids are made of, or what the Rapids are made of. If these guys They've got all of their new players from the transfer window. They've seen proof of concept from these players. They've had time to gel. Like, this is literally like shit or get off the pot time for the Rapids. Like, you can't leave here without at least 1 point. I'd argue anything other than a win is going to be the wind out of our sail for a playoff run, and we don't want to bank everything on LAFC on decision day.
I completely agree. And, from an Armis perspective, still no contract. Like, that, you're hitting that line that, like, he goes to Salt Lake and gets blown out in Salt Lake. Like, and then decision day goes poorly. What happens there? What happens with this team? It's one of those outside of the RMC side of it, right? Which is zone pressure. Like, this is just a high pressure game, and then on top of that, silverware is on the line against your rival, right, in their stadium. Like, this is a whole nother level of trying to play, and our boys need to step up. Like, they've got to show they can do it here.
To draw on what you just said, after the game against Minnesota, Chris Armas did say in the press conference there appears to be positive movement on the contract negotiation fronts, that both he and the team want him to be here next year, and that the current outlook is that he will be the coach of the Rapids for 2026. Obviously, that's subject to change, but all of those Jim Curtin theorists got some bad news when Curtin pulled himself out of the New England negotiations and said he was still going to take 2026 off to spend time with his family. So I can't see any way that the Rapids don't bring back a coach that the players love, or that they have someone waiting in the wings, that they're waiting on contract talks with them to pull the trigger on Armis. I don't know. I think you're right. Anything goes sideways. But with regard to Chris, if I were going to bet, I'd bet he's the coach of the Rapids for at least next year.
Yeah, that's my hope. I think he's done a solid job, but this is kind of an expectation, right? Half the teams make the playoffs. You should be making the playoffs. You need to perform, keep that cup here. Like, the failures by this team in what was arguably our weakest part of our season a few games ago is why we're in the situation we're in now.
Well, I mean, the good news is Kevin Demoff was in town for this past weekend's Rapids games. This is the KSC kind of second in command under Josh Kroenke. So he got to see firsthand what both like a culturally activated Rapids stadium looks like. He saw the performance on the field. I'm sure he got to spend time with Chris. And like when we talked to Porig, there's a definite anticipation for the off-season fan forum in which Kevin Demoff and Haley Dermer will talk to the fans about the, quote, big plans and exciting plans coming up for the Rapids in 2026. Yeah.
I think at the end of the season, whatever happens, I know there's going to be a fan forum with Smith. One of the big questions I have is why such a delay in getting Armis? Like, at this point, like, as much as I'm going to say speculate the drama, right? If you lose an RMC, doesn't make the playoffs. At the end of the day, Smith's probably already made his decision at this point, and it's probably been a while, or at least the Rapids have made this decision. Why can't you nail it down, or why isn't there already a search going on? Like, I feel that you've left this going so long that your fan base might question a little bit of faith in that. If you can't seal it down with Armis with this amount of time, and it sounds like Armis wants to be here, the players like him, right? If there are negotiations, why aren't they just done? Right? It doesn't hit the salary cap or anything. So this is just investment from Kroenke and sealing the deal with a coach that wants to be here and a player base that wants him here. Like, the sale shouldn't be that hard.
I think you're right. I think it's going to be something anticlimactic and unsatisfying. Like they were haggling over the year term or the yearly salary term, and they were going to use the season's metrics to determine the salary threshold or something like that. Who knows what's actually happening behind the scenes? As tuned in as we are, I know I don't know what's happening behind the scenes, and I doubt we would ever hear anything different, regardless of what happens until years down the road. But you're right; it does give off the impression of like that meme of the guy with his girlfriend in one arm looking at the other girl. Like it sends bad signals. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. It's not a great look for the organization. Like even if they make the wrong decision, like you want to see a decisive leadership. I don't know.
I completely agree. And what I want to see is a decisive win this weekend. So,
what do you want to see the score as that decisive win?
5-0, actually 6-0, because I want us to beat the record that we scored in Sandy when there was no fans in the stadium.
When the Rapids put out the outcome table of how they can keep the cup, and the X and Y axes were only 5 goals, I was like, Monk's gonna be so pissed because he needs the data for the score prediction, which is inevitably 7 goals. To cap you at 5, that's just rude.
It is just rude. They were like, we can only get the record in Sandy. We can't beat the record. Like, get out of here.
If ever there was a game for you to be a wild homer and predict the moon, I'm happy it's this one. I'm going to embody Fitouri, and while I'm not going to call an exciting draw, I think this is going to be a 1-0 win in Sandy. I think this is going to be the chance that we actually mirror the previous fixture, which was a 1-0 win on a 70th minute prayer from Georgi Mihailovic. I think it's going to be the same thing where we get a 1-0 win on a 80th minute prayer from Paxton Aronson, and history is going to repeat itself. Rapids get 3 points, secure at least 9th in the play-in, and then get a week off to get ready for whatever LAFC throws at us, and then having to go probably on the road for a play-in game.
All right, I'm going to give a real estimate because 6-0, yeah, that's a struggle bus. They would just have to stop playing. That'd be more goals than we've had shots on goal consistently this season. So it's a little bit difficult, but I am still going to go pretty high. I'm going to say 3-0. Aronson gets a hat trick.
Wow.
I'm going all in on that man just having an insane game, his blowout game that takes us into LAFC, where we win here again, LAFC, and we make that MLS Cup run on his back.
All right. You heard it here first. Paxton Aronson hat trick. I think Paxton Aronson gets his first credited goal. Either way, we're both putting the Rocky Mountain Cup on Paxton Aronson's shoulders.
As it should be.
Yeah.
As it should be. Any final thoughts, Matt?
Honestly, fuck Salt Lake.
Fuck Salt Lake. God damn, that place is terrible. Have you ever been there? It's terrible.
I have.
Beer pours, bullshit. Can't get 2 drinks, bullshit. Empty glass, still can't get a drink, bullshit. Get out of here with your damn rules.
National parks, though, amazing.
Are they anymore, though? There's no funding.
I think they're still open. Omar and Carly are going to Arches on the way out to the match, so we'll hear.
I hear there's 100 fans tickets sold for Rapids fans.
Nice.
Up in the section. So awesome. If you're on the bus, have a blast.
Pace yourself. It's 8 hours there and back.
No, don't pace yourself. Just go.
No, pace yourself.
It's fine. You go up in altitude and you kind of go down in altitude and then
Monk, you forget how much experience I have with these cats on the 20-minute bus ride from the Celtic to the stadium. This is 8 hours. Pace yourself.
No, when I did my first bus trip where the Drunken Monk came from, that trip, we started drinking when I got on the bus at 5:40 in the morning when we did not stop.
Let's make another prediction, Monk. Over under how many people miss the bus back to Denver? I'm gonna say at least one person misses the bus.
At least one person.
Yeah.
I'm going to believe in our fans that they still stumble out of bed somehow and get on that bus, especially after a victory, and then just party all the way back. I believe in us. I believe we can do it.
I'm going to say one person misses the bus, and it might be because they're at whatever Salt Lake General Hospital. All right, I got to go play soccer. Monk, where can they find you?
You can find me at Monk of C38 on Burgundy Sky, usually behind the decks at the C38 tailgate. Don't know where I'm watching on Saturday just yet, so I might try and show up to that nice little 5280 fan experience that's happening, but we will see what my weekend looks like. What about you, Matt?
At Matthew Wick on Blue Sky around Denver playing soccer. I'll definitely be at the Club 5280 event this Saturday. Find me setting the Guinness World Record next Tuesday with a mile-long sports scarf. Yeah, up the pits.
Did you tell everybody where your office is inside of the front office? Because you're there so much and you spend so much time inside of that stadium that they just set you up with a desk somewhere, I swear.
Oh, they did the really cool thing. They did the OG kit theme for the press box credentials. So nice. I definitely took mine. Sorry, Peter, Emilio, Gabby, Kinsey. If you're listening to this, you're gonna have to print out a new one.
Who takes their name tag?
All of us. Braden did the same thing. Sarah took hers. Sarah took her like normal one. I took this one because it's the blue, gold, and green, and it just looks immaculate.
I wouldn't. Okay, so I did. I took mine the one time I was up there.
The first and last time.
The first and last. Look, I've only been up in the media box a couple of times in my life of being a podcaster because I'm not a media guy. I am a fan through and through. I show up in colors, and so it's just not my place. It's not my world.
Not my circus, not my monkey.